What is up, YouTube? We have Mr. Justin King back in the house, the king of Built Better himself, pro athlete trainer and maker of CBum being more jacked.
Yeah.
That's the official title.
That is. It's a long one.
I'm entering into my new season of life right now. I don't know what the fuck it is right now, so he's gonna be doing an assessment for me, which we did. We've done 2 of them in the past.
Yeah, two big ones. One when you were in Arizona, but it wasn't as assessy.
As assessy?
Not as assessy.
So pretty much, I want to be able to be healthier, feel better, a little bit more functional, a little bit more athletic, but still jacked. And he said, have my cake and eat it too, is pretty much what I want to do.
Yeah.
We all want to live our life like that. So what is the point of this assessment? What's some of the stuff you go over for it? And how does it benefit like actual bodybuilding too?
Yeah.
Because it seems like it's something only athletes do.
No, yeah. I mean, your body is extremely complex. And especially in your case, like you've been training now for 15 years. Mm-hmm. And within that, you've accumulated a ton of injuries and a ton of little quirks. Like when we were going through the assessment, your right glute would be good, but your left wouldn't. But then your right hamstring would not be good, but then your left would. Yeah. So you have all these little things that will determine how we need to train you. And especially now that you're getting into more of the athletic side of things while still being jacked, there's a change in the training slightly, and there's a higher risk of injury, in my opinion. So we have to take a very cautious approach. But even if someone's just a bodybuilder, like we were talking about this yesterday during the training, if you're able to recognize there's a risk of injury to your right shoulder, let's say, and you can spend 3-4 weeks fixing it before you go into like a pushing phase of some sort. If you can fix that, now your risk of injury goes down. Or maybe you increase the range of motion, then you can recruit more fibers and you're gonna get more hypertrophy. Just in general, we're trying to figure out as much information on you. I like to say we wanna know our athletes and our people head to toe, inside and out. And once we know all of that, we then can program specific to them. The more specific we can get, the faster the results come. And so that's really all it is. And there's a bunch of fancy sciencey things that we do within it, but at the basis, that's what it is we just want to know who the person is, mm-hmm. and then from that, figure out the best plan of action.
So even though typically only athletes do it, it's beneficial to bodybuilders. For
everyone. And I mean, we're not going to take a bodybuilder and do a vertical jump test, unless if it's you and Calvin and Chadrick, of course.
Trying to fuck around.
Yeah. But even for a bodybuilder, there's different tests that you can look at, especially the range of motion ones, the muscle testing where we're seeing like, okay, is something painful or overly weak? Your body's a system. So if there's a weak link, that will always be your limiting factor. Mm-hmm. Your body's an entire chain. So even for bodybuilders, you still have to find that, train it, and then just being aware of where you're at in your training age and your journey with how long you've been training. And then you can tweak things and make a good plan.
I find it so interesting how like athletes have like a team of people that take care of them, specific training periods of the year for just injury prevention, all the things. And bodybuilders like me, I tore my labrum and I'm like, I'll just take 3 weeks off after the Olympia and then just get back to it.
Exactly.
You know, and then there's no fixing it. So now I have a shoulder that's like completely tucked in here.
Yeah, and thank God it didn't turn into anything worse, but a lot of people that's career ending, or it turns into 3 more injuries, where you can just slow down for a second and go, okay, what's the reason that this is happening? Identify it, fix it, and then you extend your career, or your muscle belly presents better on stage, or you have a less stressful prep because you don't tear your lat or your bicep or whatever. Like, so there's definitely wisdom in slowing down, figuring that out, and then going from there.
I find it hilarious too with bodybuilders. Like, again, speaking for myself,
yeah.
Like my shoulder starts to hurt. Okay, well then just stop doing free weights and just do more machines, because it's a less range of motion and it's more like secure. And then you just keep going, and it just gets worse and worse because you're just like enabling it pretty much.
No, exactly. And at the end of the day, like when you step onto stage, no one cares if you can do a full squat at all. Mm-hmm. But people do care if you actually make it to the stage, or if your quads have developed well, or whatever it is. And what are the dictating factors of that? Your risk of injury, the range that you can train, and whether or not you can fatigue a fiber. You'll fatigue more fibers with a greater range and with more load. You get that by fixing the little weak links that we were talking about. So it's still, even when people make the argument like, no, it doesn't matter if you do this or that in your training, like you can definitely up it 1%, 5%, 10%, the end result, if you do go back to the basics and fix all those things. Mm-hmm. So that's still super important, even for bodybuilding.
All right, we're gonna go train. Justin's down here helping film some stuff for the app right now. Like he was saying, we're putting a lot of cool stuff in there of proper periodization, proper loading. We're gonna be putting in this year of a lot of like injury prevention stuff, which isn't gonna be like a bullshit hour thing. It'll be like 15 minutes before a workout.
Yeah, if that.
Like simple things that you can actually apply to the workouts, add it to the programs that are already there, and then prevent injury, produce better results. So lots of cool stuff we're planning for the year for the app. But for now, we're gonna get a workout in and try not to get too skinny and try to jump high.